or crafting buddies, as the case may be. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, coming to you on Monday, July 7th, super late, 11:44 p.m., probably 11:44.5 p.m. I am in Wisconsin, and it's been a busy day. It's been a busy couple of weeks. Some of my husband's family has been in from out of town, so we were able to spend the last evening with them. They'll go to the airport tomorrow. So between having our granddaughter here, having the family here, getting my laundry done, taking care of the chickens, having dinner out to eat, which is never a problem, and getting prepped for tonight, it got a little later than I had hoped. But, you know, that's kind of my MO, right? So, quick reminder, we do have the virtual album retreat, the month by month scrapbooking album. That's going live next week. You can still order the kit. It is $250, but it has 12 two-page spreads, 2 stamp sets that have over 140 stamps between them, laser cut die pieces, all of the pieces of designer series paper that are exclusive to the set, and everything else in it is already pre-cut, ready to go. It's live for 3 days, 8 hours a day, and will be available in a private Facebook group and later in a private YouTube group. So you'll be able to look at it later, enjoy the layouts, change it up with whatever paper you might have. So for me, somebody who doesn't scrapbook a lot, I think this is going to be a great few days for me. I'm hoping to learn some skills, some techniques that they've promised to share with us. So that's my plug. If you want more information on that, let me know. Hello, Fifi, you've made it. Whew. You're not that late. I've only been here for 2 minutes. So, plus my iPad is delayed, so maybe you've been here. But welcome. I am going to work with this Perfectly Pears suite of products. And I've only, yay, right? I've only used a couple of the pieces in here. This ribbon is really quite pretty. It is called Mossy Meadow and Gold Trim. It's a 1/4 inch, so it should tie up really nicely for us into a bow or knots. So one side is more gold and one side is more of the old olive. So we will play with that. I'm not going to use a whole lot out of the stamp set. I did pull out the Hello Friend. I'm thinking I'm going to go really simple with that. I stamped it quick just because last night was a little bit of a train wreck with me trying to stamp and get things inked up properly. So I cheated there. I have that ready to go. And luckily I stamped it on the first try. What do you know? And I'm going to be using some of the dies. These embellishments, these are called the low profile sparkle dots. They are really quite pretty. That came with the suite. So we've got the ribbon, the dots, the stamp sets, the die, or the stamp set rather, the dies, and this paper, which is gorgeous. Fifi, do you have this yet? Some of the dies will cut out the images on the paper. All right, so front and back. All right, so that's a little grid pattern. Excuse me. This would be nice for a scrapbook layout if that's something you do, and I'm going to hang on to these for that purpose. I think I'll give it a try. This sheet, I did cut a 4-inch strip off of here. This sheet is laid out kind of on a diagonal. You can kind of see that pattern there, but there are dies that will cut out this set of pretty and pink flowers. It will cut out this pair and the corresponding stem with the leaves, and it cuts out these pairs. So basically everything on this page can be cut out with the dies. All right. Yeah, the dots in the ribbon are quite stunning. The paper, excuse me, as soon as I start talking, I get a dry throat. The papers are really quite pretty. They kind of caught my attention. And when we use the stamp set, I am actually looking forward to using my blends and doing some coloring on these. This is a distinctive stamp set though, so you get some extra design when you stamp these. So you've got the outline and then you've got the distinctive stamp here. So you will ink, and as long as you don't use an ink pad that's too juicy, you will get variations in the color based on how the stamp is designed. So that's pretty cool, and I will play with that another day. All right, so the whole page basically, except for maybe these little flowers, will get cut out with dies. And then the back side of this is the foliage. I thought this page was quite striking, and I actually used this side for another project, but I thought this was quite striking with that dark background. Kind of like the technique that I used with the sunflower embossing folder, where you kind of have the really dark background and then the colors can pop. And this one, we've got the Darling Duckling with some of the other colors in here. I think this is Secret Sea in here. I think Misty Moonlight would probably coordinate with that well, as you know, as well. These are more of a pink hue on there, and then that background there. So we've got Basic Beige, Darling Duckling, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, which is still one of my favorite colors. Hello, Nicole. Thanks for joining us. Petal Pink and Secret Sea. So we're doing a little with the Painterly Pears Suite, but I'm using mostly the Perfectly Pears dies. All right, I'm going to put these aside here. And I couldn't quite decide if I wanted to use a Darling Duckling background with maybe my perennial postage die cut that I found with my paper, so I didn't have to do anything. Or if I wanted to just do the Old Olive. So let me show you the dies. Give me just a second. I cheated on this too. You'll see in just a minute. So here's the dies where I told you they will actually cut out the images on this entire sheet of DSP. All right, so I cheated with this too, and I ran this through a few minutes ago. And I just thought it would kind of save time for me pulling up my machine. So those will go together. And then I thought these pairs were really pretty too. And I've got a magnet up here, so we'll just make sure I don't lose my dies. It cuts out these flowers too, which is really nice because you don't have to fussy cut those if you wanted to keep them. So there's 4 of the dies, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we use some of those, and I'll save this because even if there's some of these partial pieces, there's no reason why you couldn't use those on an edge of a paper. The Perfectly Pears DSP would make a brilliant album base. Yes, you do need to go put it in your cart. Did you, were you here when I was showing all of the pages? That one page that I thought in particular would work good for a scrapbook? Let me pull that out quick. So this page I thought would work really well. But then some of these back sides would be great too, because they're nice prints, but they're really subtle. They're not like in your face sort of prints. So yeah, you need to go put that in your cart. And if you haven't seen it, or if you don't know about it, the 9th, 10th, and 11th, I believe, Stampin' Up! Just announced that the 2-toned cardstock, the 12 by 12 sheets of cardstock, 2-tone, are going to be on sale. I think I saw 20% off. I put a new banner on my Facebook page, so I'm pretty sure it's 20% off. I saw that quickly between activities today. So I'm thinking if we did something like this. Now I did also use the dies here. There's like this hashtag and these flowers. This would be a bundle of flowers. I didn't use that, but this hashtag basically. And the flowers, I cut some of those out ahead of time. And those could be used to put some texture on our page. I don't know if I might like them layered. It gives a little color. Put a few flowers on here. Line up the stem a little bit better. But then all these little flowers too, I thought were really adorable. So I did those in petal pink. I think I said pretty in pink before. It's petal pink. But we could put some of those on here. Oh, I didn't, you know, Fifi, I almost put in an order for the two-tone, and I waited because I had ordered something else. I don't even remember what it was. It's coming on Friday. And I won't be home on Friday because I am going to our Great Lakes demonstrator event that we're having. And I'm actually going to demonstrate for the group in small like breakout sessions. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut these. If you've seen me craft before, you know I think it's kind of fun to just put words with just the rectangles randomly on my project. I just think it looks cute. I don't know. Not everybody likes it, I suppose. And there is a couple of dies. So you could put, you know, like the congratulations would fit in here. The thank you would fit in here. Friend and hello would certainly fit in there. So it's nice that Stampin' Up! Designed it with dies to use with the words, with the sentiments. So what do you think of that layout? And maybe we'll put a bow on it. Or we could wrap ribbon around there and put a knot. Let's see what the bow looks like if I do it with my little bow jig. And, whoops, almost lost it. We'll do it with my little bow jig and see how the green and gold work out together. Now, I'm from Wisconsin, so I might have had to have ordered this ribbon either way because green and gold, of course, are the colors for our Green Bay Packers. And while I haven't watched football regularly for a few years because I was a little irritated with all of the players taking their political platforms to the football field, I don't think that's appropriate. They're there to do a job, not to preach to anybody about their personal platform. So I just haven't watched a whole lot. So there's with my little bow jig. All right, and then I would certainly want to clip that down here with my ribbons. Yeah, these colors together are gorgeous. As soon as I saw pears, I knew I would use it because there was another pear set that retired with the last catalog, and I had it, but I hadn't used it. And I finally pulled it out. I mean, I bought it because I liked it, right? But I never used it. And I finally started using it right at the very end. And I just loved the stuff that was created. So we could do something like this. All right, so that's just winging it. Now, when I did the bow like this, because a lot of times I'll just do my, I don't know, your bunny ear bow. But when I do that, the gold shows up. And I thought it seemed like it was harder to manipulate so that the green sides were up and then the gold is here. So it kind of depends on how you want it to look. But I really like it with my little bow jig. All right. All right. Yeah, it does. It ruins the game for me. As we say, that's not cricket. Yeah, there you go. Just play ball. That's all I want. Okay. So we could do this just on Old Olive. I could layer some of that onto the perennial postage layer I have here. Let's just move some of this over and see kind of how it would look there with a little tone on tone. We'll move that here. Put these couple little pairs over here. And maybe that extra layer of the hashtag stuff is too much. I don't know. But this would be another possibility. And I would put this up on dimensionals, I think, just to give it a little more depth. You like the tone on tone, okay. All right, so let's just lay these on here for kicks. I'll glue this all together in a hot minute, right? And you probably can't tell that a couple of those flowers are upside down, so I'm just going to leave them and I will just fix them when I go to glue everything. So those could be on there, something like that. We would do it a little bit neater. Okay, so there's that little tone on tone. Or let me score this. Yeah, the dimensionals would definitely be required as far as I'm concerned. And I thought about cutting some of the designer series paper to make some strips on here, but I thought, you know, I just want these pairs to stand out. So if we do that perennial postage layer, Darling Duckling and Old Olive, or Old Olive and Old Olive. Ooh, yeah. Doesn't that yellow, just the Darling Duckling really makes it pop, I think. So Darling Duckling, Old Olive. Okay. Fifi's got Darling Duckling. Nicole, what about you? And anybody else who's peeking in. All right, so Old Olive. I could even cant that a little bit to give it a little more personality. I kind of like that. Yep, Darling Duckling. I kind of agreed. As soon as I put it on there, I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. Because it just, I think, brings out more of the color in the pears. I'll do another one with this another time. So I'm going to save that. And let's just start kind of gluing things. So here's the next question then. Do I do it canted or conventionally straight? What do you think? Since you're here, you can help me out. You like it straight, Fifi? Okay. All right, so I'm waiting on Nicole's vote. I haven't seen her, but I kind of like this one straight also. I think if I did the green one, I'll do it canted. So let's go ahead and put this up on dimensionals. We'll just start getting stuff put together. I still have my dryer is running with the last of my laundry. Monday is usually my laundry day. Not that anybody needs to know that, but I try to kind of have a schedule so that I don't forget about those essential things. It's not one of the tasks that most of us love to do. I'm not a fan of laundry necessarily, but I am a fan of clean clothing, so there's that. All right. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Yeah, my choice. So we're going straight with this one. All right, so let's figure out if we want the little yellow hashtags under here. I think having both of them might have been a little distracting unless I move them a little bit like this. This I think looks okay. That would work. So both or just a single color. And then this will come here, of course. I'm going to put the bow on top of there to camouflage that, and then I'm going to add these. So do you think both looks okay? You like them both? Yeah, I'm thinking once I set them off a little bit, I think it looked all right. So let's move these again. And then we'll start with this one. Let's see. Oh, Nicole, you like them both too. Good. We'll start with, I've got my liquid Tombow, or my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue in just this little bottle that I got from our $1.25 store. So it's still the same, you know, what we call here in our area, we just call it the green glue because it comes in a green label bottle. But it's the same glue that I put in here. I just put it in the fine tip. You know, Stampin' Up! Does have their fine tip bottle, but you know, I have a hard time getting that little pointy edge in there to keep the bottle from getting clogged. So I don't have that same issue here, but these bottles came with this silicone tip, and I think the silicone tip just helps keep everything working. It doesn't have a chance to really get air in there. And I usually leave it so the glue is still in the tip of the that needle part there, so it doesn't recede. And then I store my bottles so that they're tipped down, so hopefully I don't have to wait for glue to flow. Yeah, those little bottles are quite handy. So let's take a look at this. I think if we do something like that, that'll work. Now, I purposely only put one dimensional in the middle so that I could put my pear on dimensionals here without it making the card any thicker. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put these in the middle, and we'll add those on top. And that'll just kind of cover where there's a little bulk there. All right, and then these, I think will kind of, I think what I'll do is I'll put some tear and tape on here. I could use seal, but my container is almost empty. And with my luck, it would go all the way empty when I needed to put something down, because that's usually Murphy's Law for me. Okay. Alrighty, this is coming together pretty good. I'm glad I did some of my die cutting ahead of time though. So of course it's just the basic card front size for us is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. All right, so those will work just like that. And then I can put some dimensionals on this now, and that'll help hold those little hash pieces down also. And then I just need to avoid where that middle one is. So I think I'm going to move this one. We'll move it up just a little bit more. And 3 should be plenty. And we'll just lay that over there. And we can put this leaf up on a dimensional, and we'll put some glue on the other one. To hold that in place. That should be good, just like so. And then we'll get a couple of glue dots for our bow. Where did my glue dots go? I had my glue dots here yesterday, I thought. All right, hang on. Talk amongst yourselves. Probably just move them and I'm not seeing them is all, because I know they're here. And I like to put a glue dot on each side of the knot because that keeps my bow from tossing to and fro. put that there. I love this. I love this set. And then I'm just going to glue those on there. Oops, I suppose hello should go in front of or above friend, right? I never used to like pears to eat. I think we'll do that over here. I never used to like pears to eat. And then the house that I'm in, I've been here quite a long time. And I have pear trees. And guess what? I like pears. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Fifi. Because that does help. All right. So these hash marks, I'm not going to glue down because, of course, they're attached to this pear up on the dimensional. So that's giving it some depth. And then I'm just going to start putting some flowers on here. And I just wonder if I want to cluster some of those around maybe a couple of these corners. I got a little bit of glue residue on my fingers. I think I'm going to do that because this has a lot going on, but I like the little flowers. So let's just put a couple little drops here and we'll see how that goes. I think we'll put that one there and that one there and that one there. We'll let it hang over the perennial postage a little bit. Put a few more on here maybe. I just think those are cute little flowers. A little cluster there. And we'll just kind of tuck that one under the layer. And then let's put a couple over here. So we'll put a couple up on top. Kind of going over the edge again. And then we'll tuck this one under a little bit. I kind of like how this is turning out. Just, you know, sometimes just creativity on the fly works for me. And I think I'm just going to not do those two. What do you think? Let's see about these gems. I actually wish there was a super small one. My putty kind of got broken from one of my classes. So I'm just going to tuck that under here just for a little shimmer and shine. Not because it doesn't have enough going on, but because a little shimmer is fun. Yeah, I think that works. And I'm just going to use one color of the dots. You know, these are flat. Maybe I should just peel them off. That might work better. All right. So that's 3, but I think we need a few more. Just because I kind of like how those are looking. Oh, that little flower came off. I need a little bigger dollop of glue here. And then try to get this little fella on here. It's kind of cute with it in the center of the flower. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think we'll do one more for sure. And we'll just do one down here on that flower. Maybe. Maybe if it'll sit there. There we go. All right. Thank you for all the hearts, you guys. I love that. All right. So obviously I will put a layer on the inside so I can write a note. Now, Darling Duckling is certainly light, not that you could just write it in here, but I do like the finished look of having a layer in there. So what I typically will do is whatever I've got on the front, I will do another layer and then I will put my note card, you know, my sentiment layer on top of that. So that's what I'm going to do here. You know, I think just the designer series paper, there's hardly any stamping, and those die cuts, I think just makes a really striking card. So that's it for tonight. What do you think? Thank you for your help, Fifi and Nicole. Perfect for a nature lover, you're right. Or somebody who likes to eat, you know, that would be all of our family. So I'm going to post a picture of this on my Facebook page, which is also Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. Nicole, if you end up putting this in your shopping cart and making stuff, head over there too and add some comments. Include a picture of what you make. And you can bet I'll be making some more things with this probably over the next week or so. Now, later this week, I will be going to our Great Lakes demonstrator event, and I'm actually going to do a demonstration on Friday for small groups. I'm going to use the sunflower embossing folder and do some techniques with that. So I'm looking forward to that, but I do need to get some of my things together. So Thursday night and Friday, it'll be iffy what I do. Friday, I might just do a quickie live maybe from the event. We'll see. But if you don't see me, that's why I'll be gone. So I'll try to post anyway, because it's always fun to be here and see what we can do. So until next time, ladies, it's always a pleasure to have you join me. I appreciate it. Oh, thanks, Nicole. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. All righty. Good night, ladies. Until next time. Happy crafting.